Hi, I'm Maureen from the National Postal Museum.
And I'm Emily from the National Museum of the American Latino.
Welcome to Stamp Stories, where we explore topics that appear on postage stamps. New stamps come out every year on a wide variety of topics. Today, we're going to learn about mariachi music.
Mariachi is a type of music that originated in Mexico, and it's now popular in the United States and all over the world. It is very lively and includes the use of many different instruments.
Let's start by reading a book about mariachi music. This book is called Finding the Music, En Pos de la Música. Text copyright 2015 by Jennifer Torres. Illustrations copyright 2015 by Renato Alarcao. Special thanks to Lee and Low Books for permission to use this book. Above a booth at the back of Cielito Lindo restaurant hung the old vihuela. Reina's abuelito, her grandpa, had played the instrument when he was a musician in a mariachi band. Reina spent every weekend at the restaurant with her mama. In the morning, when mama opened the restaurant, she would touch the vihuela's strings, close her eyes, and whisper, "Ay, Reina, how I wish you could hear your abuelito play again." Reina liked to climb into her favorite booth, the one below abuelito's vihuela, to read while mama cooked. But the restaurant was often so noisy, Reina couldn't concentrate. When Reina complained, mama just smiled. "Oh, Reina," she sighed, "these are the sounds of happy lives. The voices of our neighbors are like music," abuelito always said. Reina wasn't so sure, especially one Saturday when Cielito Lindo was noisier than ever. All day, the doorbell jangled as customers walked in and out. Mr. Espinosa and Mr. Hernandez shook their newspapers at each other, their coffee growing cold while they argued, then agreed, then argued again. The Sandoval twins smacked spoons against the table. In the kitchen, where Mama was warming a batch of tortillas, dance music rang out from the old-fashioned record player on the countertop. Reina sank deeper into the booth. She pulled her book closer to her nose and tried to ignore the ruckus. Suddenly, one of the Sandoval twins threw a spoonful of food at his brother. The boys hollered wildly. "Enough!" Reina shouted, flinging her arms up in the air. The book slipped from her fingers and flew straight into Abuelito's vihuela, knocking it to the floor with a loud thud. "Oh no!" Reina gasped. Everyone stared at her in stunned silence. Everyone except Mama, who was still in the kitchen. Reina couldn't let Mama see what had happened. She grabbed the vihuela and rushed toward the door. "Be back soon, Mama," Reina called. "Don't go too far," Mama replied. "I want you here in time for dinner." Outside, Reina sucked in a deep breath and examined the vihuela. An ugly crack crept up the front and the strings drooped. Reina had never heard Abuelita play the vihuela, but every night at bedtime, Mama described the Mexican folk songs he had performed. She said the music was like an old friend, taking your hands and pulling you onto the dance floor. Reina knew she had to get the vihuela fixed somehow. Not far from Cielito Lindo was Don Antonio's hardware store. Don Antonio had repaired Reina's bicycle once. Maybe he could help again. "Can you fix it?" Reina asked as she lifted the vihuela onto the counter. Don Antonio tilted his head and squinted. "A ver," he said. "Let's see." He tugged at one of the sagging strings with his pliers. The string snapped. "I'm sorry," Don Antonio said, shaking his head. He handed the vihuela back to Reina. As she turned to leave, she noticed an old photo taped to the cash register. Reina recognized one of the faces from photographs at home. "My abuelito?" she asked. "Sí," Don Antonio said. "Yes." He took down the picture from the cash register. "This was at my wedding. None of us had much money then, so instead of a gift, your abuelito and his mariachis played for us." Don Antonio handed the photo to Reina. "Now I'd like to give it to you." Gracias, Reina said. Thank you. She left the hardware store wondering what to do next. Across the street, Reina saw Miss Anna, the school music teacher, pulling weeds in her garden. Miss Anna seemed to know everything about musical instruments. Reina hoped she knew how to fix them, too. Reina showed Miss Anna the vihuela and told her what had happened. You know, Reina, Miss Anna said, the first music lessons I ever took were from your abuelito. He taught me on this vihuela. Wait here. I think I have something that will help. When Miss Anna returned, she was carrying a hat, a sombrero de charro. An old hat? Reina asked. How will that help? When I went to college to study music, your abuelito gave me his sombrero for good luck, Miss Anna said. Now I hope it will bring good luck to you. Miss Anna put the hat on Reina's head. Reina smiled, proud to wear abuelito's sombrero. Then she remembered the vihuela and her smile disappeared. Don't worry, Reina, Miss Anna said. Your mama will understand it was an accident. Reina nodded and waved goodbye, hoping Miss Anna was right. Talking with Miss Anna had given Reina another idea. She would take the vihuela to Adelita, the music shop. Reina wondered why she hadn't thought of it sooner. Last year, Mama had bought Reina a trumpet at Adelita's. Mama didn't have enough money to pay for the trumpet all at once, but Senor Marcos, the owner, had said Mama could pay for it a little at a time. Reina crossed her fingers. Maybe with the money Mama gave her for helping at the restaurant, she could pay for a new vihuela the same way. Reina, hello, Senor Marcos called when Reina entered the shop. Then he noticed the vihuela. ¿Qué pasó? He asked. What happened? It was my abuelito's, Reina explained. It fell off the wall. I was wondering if you had another one. I can pay for it a little bit at a time. Senor Marcos held out his hand. May I see it? He ran his finger over the ugly crack. I don't have any vihuelas, he said finally, but you don't need one. I can help you fix this. Gracias, Reina cried. Miss Anna was right. The sombrero was good luck. Can we do it now? Senor Marcos shook his head. I'm sorry, but I'm busy until next weekend. Reina sighed. Mama would be so disappointed. I never even heard Abuelito play, Reina whispered. After listening to so many stories about his music, she longed to hear it. Sígueme, Senor Marcos said. Follow me. Senor Marcos led Reina to his office. He searched through stacks of old records, pulled one out, and handed it to Reina. If you're going to fix a vihuela, he said, you need to know how it's supposed to sound. Your abuelito's mariachi band had a few of these little records made. This one might be the only one left. Take it home and listen. Then come back with the vihuela next Saturday morning. Reina thanked Senor Marcos and returned to Cielito Lindo. She couldn't wait to play the record, but first she had to tell Mama what had happened to the vihuela. Where have you been? Mama asked when she heard the doorbell jingle. I'm really sorry, Reina said. She explained how she had broken the vihuela and promised to fix it with help from Senor Marcos. Where did you find that? Mama interrupted, pointing to the sombrero. It's from Miss Anna, Reina replied. Abuelito gave it to her, and now she gave it to me. And look, Don Antonio gave me this photo. Mama laughed. How handsome Abuelito was. Then she tucked the picture into the hatband and hung the sombrero on the wall, right where the vihuela had been. As the dinnertime crowd filled Cielito Lindo, Reina had one more idea. She hurried to the kitchen and put Abuelito's record on the record player. Then she turned the volume dial as high as it would go. Ay, 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 ay! Abuelito's joyful voice rang through the restaurant. The sound of his vihuela was clear and sweet. Listen, Mama, Reina said. You can hear Abuelito play again. Then she took her Mama's hands, and together they danced around the tables, laughing and spinning. It was noisier than ever at Cielito Lindo. and Reina didn't mind at all.
That story was wonderful. In the story, Reina is trying to get her grandfather's vihuela fixed. Here you see sketches from the Smithsonian's Folk Life collection. In the sketch, you can see that one man is playing the vihuela while another man is playing the harp. The harp plays along with the bass line and sometimes also plays the melody. The mariachi harp is known as the arpa jarocha, or Mexican harp, whose roots are found in Veracruz. Charro/charra outfits are the traditional outfits of mariachi, and they're based on the clothing of a type of horseman known as a charro. The outfit usually includes tight, elaborately decorated pants or long skirts with embroidery and embellishments, short jackets, silk ties, and a wide-brimmed sombrero known as a charro hat. This was Edgardo Garzón's blue silk bow tie from the 1990s. He was a Mexican entertainer who spent time on United States television, on Univision and Telemundo. He was also a musician and a recording artist, and would sometimes appear in his traditional charro outfit, including the bow tie you see here. Women can also wear the China Poblana outfit. China Poblana outfits are traditional Mexican outfits that include an embroidered blouse, usually white, a full skirt decorated with beading, embroidery, and sequins, and a colorful shawl, among other items. The China Poblana outfit that you see here was used by Rosita Fernandez in San Antonio in the 1960s. Because of her 60-year career in music and theater, she was known as San Antonio's First Lady of Song. You can see a modified version of this traditional outfit in the Smithsonian's Mariachi Grupo Bella performance from 2018. The tradition of mariachi music is alive and well across the United States and has been adopted by many regions in the country. Mexican-American communities use the music to help keep their cultural traditions alive, building community by gathering like you see in the postcard from Olvera Street in Los Angeles, California.
Thanks, Emily. It's wonderful to see these museum objects related to mariachi music. It has such a rich history. Mariachi music is such a vital part of Mexican culture, and it's popular all over the world, especially in the United States. In 2022, the United States Postal Service issued a set of stamps honoring mariachi music. Let's take a look. Mariachi music is known for being so fun and lively. All the instruments have their own sound, and each one is an important part of mariachi music. These postage stamps feature 5 of the main instruments played by mariachi musicians. The photo you see here is of Rafael Lopez, who was the stamp artist for this series. He's standing in a town square in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, making sketches of the musicians while they play. He used these drawings as inspiration for his stamp art. Can you find some of the instruments in the photo on the postage stamps? Let's take a closer look. The first instrument is the guitar, which is used in all kinds of music all over the world. Every mariachi band has at least one guitar player. This instrument has 6 strings, and it provides the basis for all the songs and all the other instruments. It's like the backbone of the band. The violin is important too. There can be as many as 8 in one group. Since violins are small, you need several of them to make enough noise to be heard amid all the other instruments. Not every mariachi band has violins, but the larger ones usually do. This instrument is a vihuela, like the one from the book we read. The vihuela is strongly associated with mariachi music. It's a small 5-stringed guitar that plays higher notes and usually provides harmony to the main melody. Vihuela players use their fingernails to play their instrument and produce a bright, clear sound. This instrument is called a guitarrón, and it's also a very traditional part of mariachi music. It's a large guitar with an oversized back, which makes it very loud. It plays the low notes or the bass notes, which provide the rhythm to the music that the band plays, so it has a very important role. The last instrument featured on these stamps is the trumpet. It's also considered a vital part of the mariachi band. and helps give mariachi music its signature sound. Unlike some of the other instruments we've seen, there is usually only one trumpet player in a mariachi band. That's because, unlike violins, they are very loud. Mariachi music holds a beloved place in the history and culture of Mexico. Mariachi songs can stir up many emotions and memories in its audiences. As stamp artist Rafael Lopez describes, growing up, I remember nostalgic weekends listening to the uniquely Mexican sound of mariachi music in Plaza Garibaldi in Mexico City. Colorful songs that tell stories of celebration, struggles, lost love, and joy.
That was a lot of fun talking about mariachi music. If you'd like to learn more about mariachi music and other parts of Latino culture and communities, check out the National Museum of the American Latinos website for more information, resources, programs, and events. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you to our audience for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more about music on stamps and about a whole lot of other topics, you can check out the National Postal Museum's website. We encourage you to just keep exploring.